Abandonment of moral responsibility causes Gaza crisis. Malaysia GDP grows 3.3% in third quarter. Thank you for joining us. I'm SAHIH and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim continues voicing out about the bloodbath that is happening in the Gaza Strip amid Israel's relentless air and ground attack every time he took the stage of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC leaders meeting. Lamenting at the APEC Economic Leaders' informal dialogue and working lunch in the presence of United States President Joe Biden, Datuk Seri Anwar described the issue as an abandonment of moral responsibility. This in turn allows for massive destruction to happen and resulted in climate calamity. The attack has killed more than 11,000 Palestinians, including over 7,800 women and children, while over 29,000 others have been injured to date. Since his presence in San Francisco, Datuk Seri Anwar has highlighted the humanitarian crisis in Palestine. He added that the humanitarian crisis in Palestine is poised to affect not just Palestine or the broader West Asia, but also have an imprint on global relations for many years to come.
I'm proud to say more.
After the APEC Economic Leaders' informal dialogue and working lunch, the Prime Minister also participated in the second meeting of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework IPEF. The 14 IPEF partners saw a substantial conclusion of the negotiations for clean and fair economy agreements, while the supply chain agreement has been signed on the sidelines of the APEC Economic Leaders meeting. The 14 countries are Australia, Brunei, Fiji, India, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Singapore, South Korea, Thailand, the United States and Vietnam. The IPEF consists of four main pillars, namely trade, supply chain, clean economy and fair economy. IPEF negotiations will see four separate agreements for each of these pillars. The United States-led trade deal has the trade pillar pending. The IPEF partners will now undertake the necessary steps, including further domestic consultations and a legal review, to prepare the final text of the three proposed agreements. Once finalized, the proposed agreements will be subject to IPEF partners' domestic processes for signature, followed by ratification, acceptance or approval. The Royal Malaysia Police (PDRM) has not received any reports of direct or indirect threats due to Malaysia's stance and determinations to defend the fate of the Palestinian people. However, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said that the police are continuing to gather information and intelligence in case there is any external threat on the matter.
Buat masa ini ugutan secara direct tak ada. Tetapi kita masih mengumpulkan risikan, menentukan keselamatan negara ini tahap yang sangat baiklah.
He said this after attending the Basic Police Inspector Training Passing Out Parade at the Police Training Centre Pulapol in the Federal Capital today. Malaysia is among the nations calling loudly and strongly for the international community to intervene immediately and stop the Israeli regime's attacks on the people of Gaza. Previously, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim informed that he had received multiple threats from foreign countries following Malaysia's firm stand. The national economy grew 3.3% in the third quarter of 2023 compared to 2.9% in the same quarter last year. Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzir Mahidin said the improved growth was supported by expansion in domestic demand.
On the expenditure side, expansion in domestic demand was driven by both private and public spending. Higher private consumption growth benefited from favorable labour market conditions, with expansion in both necessities and discretionary spending.
Speaking at the announcement of the national economic performance in the third quarter, he said exports remain sluggish due to persisting weak external demands. However, this was remedied by the further recovery in tourism and higher construction activity. As a whole, the national economy grew 3.9% in the first 3 quarters of 2023. Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) is confident that Malaysia's economy will register a growth of 4.0% this year and between 4.0% and 5.0% in 2024 after taking into consideration the country's strong economic indicators. Governor Dato' Abdul Rashid Ghaffur, citing strong demand for passenger cars as well as private consumption, stated that Malaysia's economic data demonstrate the country's resilience in the face of continuous external shocks.
The key factors driving growth are, first, better employment and income prospects, which will help strengthen domestic demand. Second, the realization and progress of multi-year projects. Third, improvement in the global tech cycle, which is expected to lead to higher trade activities. And fourth, continued increase in tourist arrivals, which will spur growth in tourism-related sectors.
Commenting on the performance and strength of the ringgit, he said the currency had depreciated in the third quarter of 2023 amid the broad US dollar strength following the US policy rate hikes. In response, Dr. Abdul Rashid stated that BNM is constantly pushing the use of local currencies in trade and settlements in order to relieve pressure on the ringgit. This includes the arrangement with China whereby 25% of trade is in local currencies. Dato' Sri Haji Noor has given his backing to the development of Sabah's rural tourism sector, heralded as a possible massive income contributor for the state. The Chief Minister wants community-based tourism (COBT) to be aggressively developed due to its great potential to spur economic growth, particularly in the rural areas of Sabah. He said a total of 224,356 tourists visited rural tourism destinations in the state last year, bringing in nearly 8 million ringgit in tourism receipts. He said the total reflected figures from Kadamayan in the Kota Belud district, Kiulu Tuaran and Tambunan. Dato' Hajiji said this at the launch of the Sabah COBT Expo in Kota Kinabalu today, where his speech was delivered by State Tourism, Culture and Environment Assistant Minister Dato' Johnston Bangkuai. He added the state would continue to back the efforts for Sabah COBT to achieve 80% ASEAN standard compliance by 2030. The 3-day expo will serve as a transformation plan for Sabah COBT, showcasing the rural community's strength and offering tourists an authentic experience. In conjunction with World Children's Day, RTM's English language radio station Trax FM today engaged in its special on-ground event designed to bring joy and laughter to the young patients of University Malaya Medical Centre PPUM. The aim of the program is to provide a memorable and uplifting experience for the children seeking treatment at the hospital. Trax FM noted that as part of its corporate social responsibility CSR initiative, the station is delighted to bring some magic and joy into the lives of children through the program called Tiny Treats Lollipops. Assistant Station Manager Niswani Awang said that every child deserves a moment to forget about their challenges and simply enjoy being a kid. She added that aside from the community outreach program, Trax FM as a national broadcaster is always committed to fostering a stronger rapport among the public while providing reliable information and entertainment. Strong quake shakes southern Philippines, that and more in the foreign segment. A strong magnitude 6.7 earthquake shocked the southern Philippines today, with local authorities warning of potential damage. In a statement, the U.S. Geological Survey said no tsunami threat was issued after the quake struck off Sarangani province on the main southern island of Mindanao at a depth of 78 kilometers at 0814 GMT. There were no immediate reports of casualties, but the quake was felt across a wide area of the mountainous island. It was even felt by people some 200 kilometers from the epicenter. Quakes are a daily occurrence in the Philippines, which sits along the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic as well as volcanic activity that stretches from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said Thursday that he told President Xi Jinping he has serious concerns about Chinese military activity during their first direct talks in a year and slammed Beijing's ban on its seafood. Kishida said he expressed serious concerns over China's increasing military activity near Japan, including its collaboration with Russia during their meeting on the sidelines of the APEC forum. Meanwhile, Chinese state media reported that Xi told Kishida in the meeting in San Francisco that Japan and China must follow the trends of the times, focus on common interests, and properly handle differences. The Chinese leader said the two nations must commit themselves to building a Sino-Japanese relationship that meets the requirements of the new era. In more conciliatory remarks, Kishida said Japan and China vowed to continue communicating on this and other issues. He said Japan and China are both superpowers that have responsibility to coexist and prosper together, lead the region and international society, and contribute to the world peace and stability. US President Joe Biden signed a stopgap spending bill to avert a government shutdown a day after the Senate passed it. Biden signed the document on the sidelines of a dinner at the Legion of Honor Museum in San Francisco, where leaders are attending the APEC summit. The Senate's 87-11 vote on Wednesday marked the end of this year's third fiscal standoff in Congress. It saw lawmakers bring Washington to the brink of defaulting on its more than $31 trillion in debt this spring, and twice within days of a partial shutdown that would have interrupted pay for about 4 million federal workers. U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson had produced the stopgap funding bill that drew broad bipartisan support, a rarity in modern U.S. politics. Democrats said they were happy it stuck to spending levels that had been set in a May agreement with Biden and did not include poison pill provisions on abortion and other hot-button social issues. Next in sports, Sinner Medvedev through to ATP Finals semi. Stay with us. We begin with tennis. Jannik Sinner put away Holger Rune at the ATP Finals yesterday to claim the top spot of Green Group as the tournament marches into the semi-finals. The home favourite had already secured a spot in the semis, making him the first Italian in a tournament 54-year history to reach that stage. Sinner having edged the Dane 7-6, 4-6, 6-1 men world number 1 Novak Djokovic will also advance to the semis despite losing to Sinner 7-5, 6-7, 7-6 on Tuesday. Enjoying the best season of his career, Sinner's win was also his 60th victory in 2023 after the fierce battle against world number 8 Rune. The Italian needed only 32 minutes to clinch the first set courtesy of a strong serve and 2 early breaks, looking on course for a smooth victory. But the fiercely Dane rallied to hold his serve and take the second set by capitalizing the fourth of his break chances against a diminished Sinner who constantly grabbed his lower back in apparent pain. Down 4-3 in the decider, Sinner saved a crucial break point thanks to an ace, then struck in the next game to break serve and seal his first win over Rune. Earlier, world number 1 Novak Djokovic overcame Herbert Hurkacz 7-6, 4-6, 6-1 in his final round-robin match in the Green Group. Djokovic's drop set against Hurkacz confirmed Jannik Sinner's spot in the semi-finals, making him the first Italian in the tournament's 54-year history to reach that stage. Djokovic could have all but sealed his spot in the last 4 if he had beaten Hurkacz in straight sets and looked on course to do so after taking the opener on a tiebreak. The 36-year-old, though, played a poor game to lose his serve to Love at 2-2 in the second set, with a double fault at Love 40 proving costly. The big serving pole then saved 2 break points with aces at 4-3, 15-40 before taking the set to level the contest. Playing with nothing to lose, Poland's Hurkacz was a force to reckon with on serve, firing 24 aces in the match, but he ran out of steam in the final set as Djokovic converted breakpoints for the first time in the contest. Alfyn Evans took a commanding lead in early racing at the Rally Japan in extremely wet conditions today, which forced the cancellation of the morning's third stage due to safety concerns. The Toyota driver was in 9th place at the end of yesterday but surged to a 26-second lead over Hyundai's Thierry Neuville after winning the two stages that didn't manage to go forward. Toyota Sebastian Ogier was in third, 42 seconds off the leader with 2023 champion Carl Rovanpera back in fifth, more than a minute and a half off Evans. Hyundai's Danny Sordo was forced to retire when he locked up and slid into the brush shortly after the start of stage 2. Toyota's Takamoto Katsuta also went off the road in the same area but was able to continue crossing in 24th position, 5.5 minutes off the leader after losing time in the crash. Now we move on to the next segment of the bulletin, On the Table with Otto. Over to you,